You ever walk into a place thinking it's just going to be another ordinary day? Then out of nowhere you get a front row seat to how messed up the world really is? That was me, Jasmine Porter, 14 years old, walking into Oak Bank on a Monday morning that was so crisp it felt like the universe itself was rooting for me. I was proud, nervous, and trying not to show either as I adjusted my school blazer, checked that the $5,000 scholarship check was still tucked safe in my folder, and tried to convince myself this was just one more step toward being grown. First solo deposit, no parents, just me, my documents, and a dream. That's all, right? Yeah, well, that's what I thought too. So I go up to the counter, and there's this manager, Victoria Hayes, you know the type, late 40s, dressed so sharp she could cut glass, walking around like she owns the air in the building. I hand the check to the teller, Tom, and instantly feel the air in the room change. Victoria's smile goes stiff. Her eyes lock on the amount like she's smelling smoke. A $5,000 check. For a student your age? She says it loud enough for half the bank to turn and stare. I feel my face burning, but I keep it together, slide over my ID and my scholarship letter, even though my hands are shaking. It's my academic scholarship, I say, trying to sound more confident than I feel. Tom holds the check up to the light, squinting at it like he's Sherlock Holmes. Next thing I know, Victoria comes over, doesn't even look at me, just mutters about fraudulent checks and how they'll have to verify everything. That's when my heart drops. I didn't bring my phone I'd left in my locker at school, and suddenly I feel a panic rising that has nothing to do with banking and everything to do with being a kid in a world that doesn't always want to treat you fair. I need to call my mom, I say, voice cracking, but Victoria waves me off, cold as ice. That's not our problem. You'll wait until we finish our verification process. It hits like a slap. I stand there in the middle of the lobby, all these adults in business suits hustling around me, whispering, judging, some just curious, others, well, you can tell they're thinking, what's that girl done? Time crawls, my legs start to ache, and all I can think is I didn't do anything wrong. I earned this check. I earned the right to be here. But standing there, watching the way people move around me, how some folks get greeted with smiles and handshakes, while others, like me, just get brushed aside-eye, it's like seeing the world with new eyes. I always knew people get treated differently, but I'd never felt it with this kind of sting. From across the room, I hear Victoria, low and almost sneaky, telling Tom, we need to maintain our standards here. We can't just let anyone walk in and expect to be treated like they belong. Yeah, that happened. It was like a punch in the gut. More minutes dragged by. I remember what my dad used to say, stay calm, stay composed, but it's hard when you're standing alone in a sea of strangers and everyone's looking at you like you're trouble. I glance around, trying to disappear, but there's nowhere to go. The marble floor feels colder, the walls closer. Every whisper feels like it's about me. And I'm only 14, but in that moment, I feel 100 years old. The thing is, my mom, Dr. Naomi Porter's not just any mom. She's one of the top financial experts in the country, built her firm from the ground up, never let wealth go to her head. She always told me, Jasmine, you earn what you keep, and you use what you earn to do good. That's how I ended up at Westridge Academy, prestigious, tough, and definitely not a place where things get handed to you for free. Every late night, every test, every club meeting, every shift in my part-time job, it was all me. Not her, not anyone else. That check was proof of my work, not my mother's reputation. I left the house that morning with her voice in my head. Are you sure you don't want me to come? She'd smiled, but her eyes said she was worried. I got this, Mom. I'd said, I'm 14. I need to do this on my own. I wish I could tell you I didn't regret that later, but I did. As I stood there, humiliated, I realized the world doesn't always play fair, and sometimes the only rule is that there are no rules for people who look like me. People come and go, getting served, laughing, treated like they belong. I watched Victoria Hayes with a cold anger in my chest, how she's sweet as honey to some, nasty as vinegar to others. A young guy with an accent comes in, and Victoria waves him off with a fake smile. Sorry, system's running slow. You'll have to wait. But 2 minutes later, a white couple walks in with the same paperwork, and she's suddenly the world's best hostess. Of course, let me help you right away. Yeah, you know what I mean? Then, just when I think it can't get worse, Victoria tells the security guard to keep an eye on her, meaning me like I'm some criminal. The guard is huge, stands close, arms crossed, making sure I don't even twitch the wrong way. The murmurs get louder. I hear laughter, pity, little snickers. Nobody says anything in my defense. I'm invisible, except when I'm not. But let me back up a sec, because then something wild happens. I spot Victoria talking to this tall, intimidating man, Harrison Wells. The name rings a bell. Me mom's mentioned him before. He runs Meridian Banking Group, a big-time rival to the bank my mom just acquired. Victoria is giving him a manila folder labeled confidential, and even for where I stand, I can see she's a little too eager, a little too slick. Whatever's in that folder, it isn't supposed to be leaving the building, and sure as hell not in the hands of Harrison Wells. Suddenly, I'm not just the kid who got humiliated at the bank. I'm a witness to something way bigger, maybe even corporate espionage. I start scribbling notes in my leather-bound notebook. Time, names, everything I see, every word I hear. I don't know what good it'll do, but I have to do something. It's not just about me anymore. It's about my mom's business, about right and wrong on a whole other level. Wells leaves, Victoria looks shaken, and then thank God the bank doors open again, and in walks my mother. Naomi Porter doesn't just enter a room, she takes it over. She scans the lobby, spots me in the corner, and her eyes go steel cold, then soft when she sees I'm okay. "Jasmine, are you all right?" she asks, coming straight to me. I nod, but inside I'm all nerves, and I know she can tell. "There's something you need to know," I say, and I open my notebook. I tell her everything. The discrimination, the whispers, the folder, Harrison Wells. Every detail. Naomi listens, she always listens. But when I finish, she turns to Victoria, voice like ice. "Miss Hayes, I believe you owe my daughter an apology. And you owe me an explanation." Victoria tries to bluster, but my mom is relentless. "You've been passing confidential info to a competitor. This isn't just rude, it's criminal." The whole bank goes silent. Security is called. The same guard who bullied me now escorts Victoria out the door, her pride shattered. Naomi stands tall in the center of the room, promises a full review and real changes so no one else gets treated the way I did. You could feel the power shifting right there. And it didn't stop that day. The bank launched an investigation, found out Victoria wasn't just a jerk, she'd been sabotaging the whole company, discriminating against customers left and right. She was out for good. The teller who was decent to me Mulata got promoted. New training rolled out. Everything changed. As for me, I got to speak in my school about what happened, about why financial literacy matters, about standing up even when your knees are shaking. That day, in the bank, me worst, most humiliating moment turned into something powerful. I became a voice for others because my mom taught me to fight back with grace, with facts, with truth. So yeah, sometimes you walk into a bank thinking you're just going to cash a check, and you walk out knowing the world's a little more complicated than you thought. But here's the thing: when the system tries to make you feel small, you don't have to stay quiet. Sometimes you get to be the reason everything changes. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Do you think the bank was just doing its job? Or is there a deeper problem we all need to face? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about what justice really means.